of the recordings. Hello, good morning, day one, week four. Is it week four of May? Is that for real? Okay. Oh yeah, two full weeks. We are more than halfway through. Let's just do a quick business check-in. I don't think anybody here is outside of Symmetry. In the chat, drop a one if you're like moving and grooving, you're pacing to hit your goal, you're clear on what your goals are, you're rocking and rolling. Drop a two if you're like, what are goals? Or that goal that I made 3 weeks ago was really fun, but I either don't remember what it is or I'm nowhere near it. Okay. All right. Few people still have to answer. We got some twos. We got some twos. What are goals? Like what? Who needs those? Um, you guys know me. I like to sometimes I have really specific things I want to talk about, and sometimes I just kind of go with the flow. Lots of twos. Okay. Let's do a check-in. I'm just gonna roll with this. I had something I wanted to say, but it was literally like I was gonna jokingly say one sentence and then be like, the call is done. So I'll weave it in there. Um, but lots of twos. Okay. Today is day one. And I'm not saying it's day one because I'm declaring that. It is a new moon in Taurus. It is a very significant. Now, whether you are into astrology and you know what that means, or if you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about, I know you believe, and I don't know. I hope you believe in ancient wisdom and science. The moon works on a 28-day cycle. And it begins with the new moon. This is the beginning of a lunar cycle. This is when all energies are resetting, they're coming back to square one. Um, New moons are the time for getting really clear on where you're headed, on what your goals are, and what your intentions are. If you're not into this, it doesn't matter what sign it's in or what degrees it's at or what house of your chart. You don't have to care or know or even think about any of that. And if you want to throw all the moon stuff out the window, you can do that too and just declare for yourself that today is day one. Today is day one and you have a 2 week month because we know that really magical things can happen in 2 weeks. And guess what? The full moon, the next full moon will be on Saturday. Is it a Saturday? Sunday, May 31st, the end of the month. You have a 2 week cycle, start to finish. So there's a couple of different cycles that happen, right? New moon to moon, new moon is 28 days. New moon to full moon is 14 days. And then you have a new moon, and then you have a 6 month cycle that's starting today as well. So the new moon is in Taurus today. The next full moon in Taurus will be in 6 months. So today is also starting a 6 month. So right now, we're just gonna go on a whim here. Grab a piece of paper, grab your phone if you want to take notes digitally, like grab something to write with. Pull up something on your phone. I'm gonna do this along with you guys. We're gonna just do some real quick ad lib new moon intention setting. Um, I'm doing it with you, so I'm writing in my notes on my computer because if I go on my phone, it'll be wild. So, okay, I want you guys to think about the next 2 weeks. I want you to think about the next 28 days or month. Before Mr. Gregorian came into the picture, we had 13 28-day months in a year. And if you don't know that math, if every month was 28 days, we'd have 13 in a cycle and everything would work out very beautifully and everything would align. But, we had to come in and mess that all up. So I want you to think in terms of 2 weeks, 28 days, or 1 month. If it's easier for you to think in terms of months, that's fine too. And then 6 months. Now, just for the purpose of this, I want you to pick one area of life. For this, it might be business, right? We're all here, we're all in Symmetry. We know the language. But if there's an area of your life that needs more attention right now, pick that one. Um, Oh, that's interesting, Rick. I love little tidbits like that. I love that. So pick one area of your life and today create space to maybe go into, two or three. The thing is here, you can't have too many. You can't I don't know if it's a Virgo problem or what, but oftentimes they'll be like, all right, new moon intentions. I'm going to change my whole life today. Right. 14 things I'm going to start doing. I'm going to stop doing every single bad habit that I've ever done in my life. And I'm just going to be a brand new person today. I love that idea. And especially where I am in my cycle being lined up with the moon cycle and being on day one, I want to burn everything down to the ground. I want to move out of my house. I want to sell all of my stuff. I want to completely restructure my business. Like everything wants to get overhauled. Let this be really concentrated and really specific. So 2 weeks. And for anybody who is brave enough, vulnerable, that they want to put any of these in the chat, right now in one area of your life, I want you to write down one intention for the next 2 weeks, next 28 days, and 6 months. Now, while you guys are doing that, feel free if you need to like turn the volume down to think while you're doing that, fine. I'm going to talk for those of you who this might resonate with. The difference between a goal and an intention. I'm sure there are different people who just like describe this differently, but for this one, we're looking at goals and intentions. A goal is typically results driven. It's a result, it's tangible, it's quantifiable. An intention is more about how you are choosing to be. What is your state of being? What is your intention and the way of being you're going to step into so that you can meet the goal? So if you're not clear on your goals, you might need to get clear on the goal first and then set the intention. And I know there's also Maura, I know the book you read, if you could drop the book that you read that talks about targets as opposed to goal, right? Because there's a lot of semantics in here. You guys just pick the words that feel good for you, right? Like if I'm saying goal, but for you, the way I'm describing it, that means something else. Just like pick what it is. But the idea is we need to know what the result is that we're going for, and then we need to get really curious and clear about the ways of being that we need to step into, that we need to start embodying, that we need to start exploring so that that goal naturally happens, right? If we have a goal that we haven't met, it's because we're not the kind of person who naturally hits that goal. And so drop a 3 in the chat if you have a goal you've been chasing month after month, year after year, or it's just like an idea in your head, but you haven't actually created that tangibly. And it could be something small, it could be something big, right? Like it could be in your health, it could be in your finances, it could be in your relationships. Okay. So like break it down, simplify it, pick a thing. And some people are 100% all they're thinking about is what do I have to do? Right? We want to make X number of dollars, and so we have to write X number of policies. If we issue that many policies, we have to submit this many. If we have to submit this many, we have to run this many appointments. If we run this many appointments, we have to book this many appointments. We have to buy this many leads. We have to dial this many dials. Cool. But if you don't already know this, how you're being, your way of being is going to determine the results that you're getting while you're dialing, setting appointments, showing up for appointments, writing policies, and issuing policies. And there are examples all over the place. I'm sure you guys will probably find one today of something doing the dishes. I hate doing the dishes. Anybody who knows me, I can't tell you how many times I've been like angry, ranting to Maura on Voxer of like, I just need a Voxer while I'm doing the dishes because I hate doing the dishes and I need something else to do because I hate doing the dishes, right? But that's an example. I can spend the 7 minutes it takes to do the dishes and I can be angry the whole time. And that can be a thing that was annoying and that can cascade this. And the result might be the same in terms of the dishes got done. But if I'm putting on loud music and I'm dancing or I'm talking to a friend or I'm letting Elijah help me and we're having fun with it, right? Now we're generating a different result because of the way we're being. Because not only are the dishes done, but now we're feeling really good about the thing that we just got done. Now, there are other examples where the result may actually change. If you are in a shit energy every single time you're dialing and talking to people, and every single person you're talking to is pissing you off, your energy is going to be communicated and your results will vary, right? Like your results will reflect that. So, um, Shaquita Cleveland talks about this, right? This is not about activity. This is about being in the right mindset, being in the right energy while we're doing the thing. So, what is the way of being? What is that embodiment that has to be checked off in order for us to be the kind of person that just gets the thing done? That like it literally, if I'm being this way, if I'm being joyful, if I'm being committed, if I am being excited, if I'm being convicted, if I'm being passionate, if whatever that way of being is, if I'm just that way, then all these things just naturally fall into place. And that is hard work. So let me say that it's simple. It is simple. Be the thing, get the result, but that is hard work. So if you're not clear on your goals, get clear on your goals first, and then the intention of how are we being, what is our intention for the next 2 weeks, for the next 28 days, and the next 6 months. And if anybody feels like dropping those into the chat for either accountability or for visibility, being seen, declaring them, we know that if you put something in writing or if you speak something out loud, it is more likely to happen. Walking in grace. Yes. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna go because if I go on another tangent, I'll be here for another 15 minutes. And um, all right, Rick, those are goals. What's your intention? How are you gonna be? What do you need to embody? What's your intention gonna be to hit 15 weeks, 15K in the next 2 weeks and 35K in the next 6 months? I love those goals though, by the way. And you're in it. Rick, you are the only one that said number. You're the only one that said one. You're the only one that said like I'm moving and grooving and I'm pacing towards my goals. And so whatever you're doing is probably the answer, right? However you've been feeling, however you have been showing up, keep doing that, right? But if you can name it, that can be really, really massive.
I can say
Focus
it
on,
quicker than I can type it.
yeah.
Very honestly, I got 5K headroom to buy more leads, switch to 24 CIAs a week. And when they drop during the day and I call them within an hour, great. But this past week, on CIAs, they gave me 3 leads that are 4 and 5 years old. And I call them all. And so I got a little queasiness, but I'm going to stick with the CIAs and then jump to MIAs as soon as I can afford. And and so that's what I'm doing, and I'm psyched.
Perfect. You're psyched. That's it. Be psyched. Be psyched. And here's the thing. Here's the trick. Can you be psyched even when there's nothing to be psyched about? Can you be excited when there's nothing to be excited about? Can we be excited? I think about this all the time. Vacation. When we go on vacation, we get so excited about that vacation for months, right? Going to Disney World, you're going wherever. You're looking forward to it, you're excited about it. What if we could embody that level of excitement for the thing that we're working towards and what we're excited about? Like for Rick in 6 months making 35K. What if we were as excited about that 35K as we are about the vacation that we're going to take in 6 months, right? Um, okay. Cassie says focusing on forgiving myself for every call I make. Ooh, okay. Cassie, can you unmute? I want to hear more about that. Forgiving yourself for every call you make. Do you feel like you have to forgive yourself for when you say every call you make, are you talking about like every dial you make, every client you talk to, or like every call in terms of like every decision you make. If you
Uh,
can't unmute, if you can.
Casey.
Oh, Casey, sorry.
Um, yeah, it's all good. Forgiving myself for every dial that I make towards a lead. Because to be honest, I've been rocking with really MIH, MIG, CIB. Well, no, not CIB, CIDs and lower leads,
Okay.
the lower quality leads. And it's brutal. So it kind of made me slow down a bit. But
Yeah.
my friend, a dear friend of mine, pointed out something that's keeping her going is that you forgive yourself for every call that you're making.
Mm.
So you're not as hard on yourself for every call that you don't make, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, I kind of got mad at myself for not being good enough to keep people on the phone.
Ooh. Yeah. And it's tricky because we start with the leads that are literally the hardest to keep people, right? So we're throwing ourselves in the beginning when you're working those lower level leads. You're really throwing yourself into the fire, right? You're learning the skill by throwing yourself into one of the hardest conversations. How long have you been working the older bonus leads?
I've been working them for the better part of my 4 months out of this now 5 months I've been here, going
Okay.
on 6.
Okay.
So most of my time.
Okay. And I trust, are you working closely with your mentor in terms of when it's time, kind of like what the targets are for when it's time to move up? Is that just budget restrictive? Like, do you feel like you have a plan or a target in mind for that?
I did get in contact with my mentor. The next move, I'm pretty clear on what my next moves are. It's really budget constraints.
Okay.
I finally secured a policy, and now I'm currently investing some of that into new leads. So
Okay.
it feels good to finally be able to follow their um recommendation to finally get to those leads that I was told to buy
Yeah.
instead of just going to MIH and MIG leads.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on your first policy. That is very, very exciting.
Thank you.
Um, and just to be, just to be able to celebrate that win. But um, I'm never one every mentor, every leader in this space has very different, recommendations, and most leaders kind of they're training their new agents in what they found success with, right? And so I never want to step on any toes, so I just always want to make sure, because there are people who come into this and don't necessarily have support from their mentor, and I don't know who everybody's mentor is, right? So I'm glad that you're in communication, and I love that you have this. It might have been Mora. There was somebody who heard something about how after every call they'd wipe their feet, and they actually got like a mat under their desk to like physically wipe their feet. So every conversation, no matter how it went, they were literally wiping their feet clean of that energy of that conversation so they can move into the next conversation and it be clean. Yeah, Rex Knight offered that to Mora, and she started to do that. So I love that. Like, it's so like in the moment, right? Like, if we are, if we're not keeping them on the phone as long as we can, right? Because we're learning this skill. But I love that. So forgiving yourself after each one, having a quick mantra, a deep breath, and then we move on to the next one. And know that as you move up, right, as you keep securing those policies and receiving that income and in reinvesting that back into those leads, it's the hardest it's ever going to be right now, right? And it's only going to get um more fun. It's only going to get more fun, and it's only going to get easier. Not only because the more you move up those leads, the conversations get easier, but you're more equipped to lock it down. And I know for me, I experienced this, but there was kind of this moment where things felt like I like felt a shift, right? One conversation, one day, one dial session where I was like, oh, I think I'm getting the hang of this, right? And that confidence boost. And then maybe we don't feel like we need to forgive ourselves for every call, but we can start to really like be grateful that we're and share gratitude with ourselves for pushing through that really hard period because we know that the work that we're doing is noble and we know that there are people out there that need us. Not everybody, right? We don't have 100% ratios. We expect 100%. There's no ratio where we expect 100%. But when we can be grateful for the work that we're doing and the hard that we're pushing through so that we can find the people and help the people who are looking for it and who need it. So I'm excited for you to kind of get to that place. And I love seeing your face here. So please come back, keep us posted. But yeah, keep plugging away. I love this. All right, Maura
Thank you so
getting
much.
social media. Yeah, of course. And I apologize. I think I've called you Cassie a number of times. So Casey, I've got that is in the brain. Um, all right, Maura's getting her social media strategy nailed down across all the platforms and posting daily. Love that everyday challenge is getting a little boost for you, Maura. I love that. 28 days we're launching podcast and one policy per week from now until then. So 4 policies total. Love this. Love, love, love this. Yeah. I love the idea of literally every conversation, every dial having that moment to just reset and reset, right? And so every single dial, every single call we're going into, we are we're going in with a clean energy, right? And we're not taking any of the bad juju with us. All right. I can't see what you posted, Rick, but I can, if I click it, it just loads. Okay, going back up. Oh, Kimberly, I skipped over yours. Less emotional chaos in the day to prioritize. Ooh, less emotional chaos. What's the intention? How can you be? What's a way of being you can embody that would reduce the emotional chaos? Or let's put it this way, you are perceiving there to be emotional chaos. And so what's the way of being that would allow you to perceive it differently?
Can I ask you?
You don't have to answer. You can just think about it if you want to. But
Well, so the history of this, and this hit me the other day, and I've been trying to work through it. So, 4 weeks into being hired at Cemetery, right? Getting in the groove, the blah 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 blah. My brother was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. And so I was working part-time, trying to keep the momentum here. And then my husband and I travel 2.5 hours away to help him and his family because they own a farm. So our weekends were gone. So and I haven't seemed to be able to break through the, okay, I'm doing this, then I got to do this, then I got to do this. And um, so now it's not him, you know, but it's the cats, the dog, the yard.
yeah.
My husband travels all week, so when he's home, I jump to that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to bring this business because I've tried blocking and I do pretty good for about an hour and then I got to get up. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe I have what is it, ADHD now or something.
Everybody has that.
But squirrel,
Yeah.
that's what we say in our house, squirrel. But
Yeah.
so that's what I'm working on. So maybe, I don't know how to change that
Yeah.
flow. But the new moon, I'm a Sagittarius rising. So it is daily routines and health. So it lines up with that, but I would be open to anybody's suggestion on
Yeah.
how to control, or maybe not control, but
Mm,
move
good
through
catch.
that. Does
Yeah, good catch.
does that
Yeah,
make
because I
more
can't.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a couple things. So I think the awareness that you have, right, of, I make this beautiful plan and then, an hour in, I'm already off schedule. And once I'm off schedule, then I just stay off schedule, right? So there's no like coming back to it. So if you have an awareness that your energy that you can realistically stay focused on a task for 1 hour, then you're going to create a schedule that's actually going to be supportive of that, right? So 1 hour dial block, and literally 1 hour, every living creature can go an hour, right? The cats can deal for an hour. The dogs can deal with an hour. Your husband can deal for an hour, right? Even whatever you're feeling can wait for an hour. Now, if we start looking at 3, 4 hour blocks, things can change. And like for me, I have a toddler, so like I do have shorter windows because I can't just like put her in front of the TV for 4 hours while I dial, right? But like I can sometimes get away with doing a 30-minute, to 1 hour call while she's playing. So I want you to think about it in terms of like what is realistic? Is it 1 hour, 3 times a day? Is it, and what kind of support, right, do you need? And how can you set yourself up for success too? So like before that block, before the time, what are the things that have to get done before, like making sure the dogs and the cats have gone outside, gone to the bathroom, gotten their food, done what I don't have cats. I don't know what cats need. I'm assuming, the basic needs need to be met, right? Like, is the litter box need to be cleaned out? I don't really know. I have a cat that lives on my stoop at my house, but I can't touch her because I'm allergic to her and she might have mange. But anyway, I think of in terms of like what are the and maybe those things take 10, 15 minutes, but like being realistic of like, okay, if I spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes taking care of all of the things and anticipating what could come up and being realistic with yourself. I'm not going to plan a 3 hour block. I'm going to plan a 1 hour block and then I'm going to reassess, right? Before my next block or before the next pieces. And I think you are in a situation that so many women and parents can relate to, and as a woman being a caretaker, you are putting all of the not just people but the all of it, right? The yard, the land, the farm, the kids, all of it is coming before you. And it's one of the hardest transitions, and I know plenty of women who've never made this transition, but the transition back to yourself, and even if that's in small chunks. But I think that the other big component of this is like naming it, right? So you are declaring that there is emotional chaos, right? There's intrusive thoughts, there's things that are distracting you. I would encourage you to reframe that, right? And there are tools obviously too for awareness, but coming up with a name for that feels less like negative or something to beat yourself up over, right? I had a really good conversation with Christina Watson. I meet every week, and we were talking about this process that she coaches this in her this framework in her coaching, but it's very simple, right? We got to name it. We got to name it to tame it is step one. Step two is we have to normalize it. So we have to remind ourselves that like we're human and what's happening to us, the emotional chaos, the overthinking, the distractions, the self-sabotage, whatever it is, right? That's happening because we're human and it happens to everyone, right? We talk a lot about self-sabotage and how our brain works against us in this call, right? And so step one, name it. I'm getting distracted. I get distracted, and once I get distracted, then I'm off my game and I can't come back to the schedule. Cool. That's normal. That's very normal. As women, as caretakers, as mothers, as ADHD, whatever it is, but like that is how our brain works. And we can dive deeper into why it's working that way and the belief set, blah, blah, blah. But just truly just taking a moment to say, I'm human and this is normal. Now, what are we going to do about it? Right. So what I'm going to do about it is I'm going to set a timer for 60 minutes and I'm going to shut the door and if the dog barks, if the cat meows, if the husband, like I'm doing this thing for this hour, or I'm making this commitment, or I'm making this shift to the plan, or I'm coming back to the plan, right? I got distracted and now I'm gonna name it to tame it. I got distracted, I got off plan, but I still have half of my day left, and this is totally normal. So I'm gonna take 10 minutes right now to rework the rest of my day so that I can still get the things done that need to get done. And this is where what happens is we stopped acting on things emotionally and we start acting on those commitments, right? I will never tell any, right? Your emotions are so important. We need to feel our emotions, we need to honor emotions, but we can't be making business decisions from an emotional place, right? So we have to feel our emotions and we have to create space and time to do that work, but we're not going to make any decisions about our business based on our emotions. We're going to make those based on our commitments. So it's what we said we're going to do, not how we feel about what we said we were going to do. Because you're going to declare some things and then you're going to feel some kind of way about it. Everything is two things. It's the thing and then it's how we feel about the thing or what we make that thing mean. And so I think that simple three-step framework, it would be really, really powerful. And I think just starting with making a schedule that you look at that you're like, I can do that. I can no matter what, right? 100%. I can do 1 hour of dialing here and then I can give myself a break and then I can do another hour over here. And I know you're working this alongside a full-time job. I'm also hearing that you've got a lot of distractions in your environment. Can you remove yourself from your environment? Can you find a different place? I will be honest, the other day I worked from my car, was not the plan, but I ended up just not wanting to waste time having to drive to get home after I dropped off my daughter. I spent 6 hours or of the better part of 6 hours in my car, and it was so wonderful because there were no distractions. There were no dishes staring at me in the face. There was nothing. I mean, my car could have been a little bit cleaner, but I was able to just kind of like lock in and like maybe you go in your car to dial. Maybe there's another space in the house that A is going to switch things up for you, but also is going to, create less distractions. Or maybe there's a coffee shop, or maybe, like, is there an environmental change that you can make that's going to reduce the number, right? If distractions are the problem, yes, we can handle how we deal with those distractions, but we also can remove the distractions. So I think there's a couple of pieces here. Does any of that resonate or does any of that feel implementable?
Yes, yes, it does. So I'll look at that. My environment, this is my new environment. I was in my art studio and it was a free for all. So now I'm back into the house and I have a door that closes. It's just ignoring the scratches and the barking and not
Yeah.
allowing them in.
Yeah.
It's life. So, okay, I can do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. And report back, like take note of like what works, what doesn't work. It's going to be a growing, evolving thing.
Right, right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. So name it, normalize it. What are you going to do about it? Make that decision, make that commitment. Um, okay. Um, I'm just looking at some of these others. We're going to wrap up here soon. Very lucky that my daughter's being as patient with me as she is, but she's got super kitties on. So like what could go wrong in the world if you have super kitties on? Um, okay. I love all of this. If I would love to like sit here and spend an hour with you guys kind of going into all of this, but I hope for those of you who did unmute that you did share, just know that coaching, I know, like drop a 4 in the chat if something I said to Kimberly or to Casey, if that resonated for you, if that supported you. Like they're coaching one is coaching all. And so, yeah, perfect. Beautiful. That's the vibe here. That's what we're creating. I'm so, so grateful for you guys all to be here. We have 2 full weeks left, and I love that it's like day 1 of week 4 is lining up with the new moon. The month will end on a full moon. The energy is perfect. Take advantage of it. If you feel like looking into it, you could look up new moon in Taurus. What does it mean? What does it mean for me? Claude can be an incredible tool for that as well, or just the general internet. And if nothing else, just declare that today is day 1 for all of you twos, for all of you people who are not where you want to be, and you've got big goals. We know that magic can happen in the last week or 2 of the month, so go make it happen. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you guys back next week. Happy Saturday.
Thank you, Marcy.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Happy
you little
Saturday.
Canyon girl.
Bye, you guys.